Welcome back, listeners, to another episode on Cosmic Conference Podcast, where we explore the synergy of spirituality, consciousness, and healing. I'm your host, Sana, as always, and today we are diving into something truly special: how the divine feminine and divine masculine energies work together, not only within ourselves, but also in our relationships. And listeners, I'm joined by an extraordinary couple, Jennifer Poland and Daryl Gurney, who have dedicated their lives to healing, prophecy, and transformational work. Let me share a little bit about both of them with you, listeners. Jennifer Poland is a prophetic channeler and teacher, recently known for her eerily accurate prophecies, including the Elifiers and even the foresight of the pandemic back in 2017. And Daryl is a metaphysical healer of the subconscious and has spoken at major conferences, including the International Conference of Science and Consciousness in Santa Fe. And together they have created Awaken Your Light Body, which is a healing modality gifted to them through divine channeled wisdom. But listeners, what makes them truly unique and different? They don't just work ordinarily, individually, but they work in union, merging their gifts in a way that amplifies healing beyond what one person could achieve alone. And today on the Cosmic Conference, we are discussing how they bring this balance together into their own relationship and how we all can learn to integrate these energies in our lives. So, with that, Jennifer and Daryl, welcome to Cosmic Conference. And it is such an honor to have both of you here with us.
Wow, thank you very much for having us. You fun. Best one we've ever had.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's a huge one. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Dal. It's so inspiring to have you guys here. So, I'll start with the foundation. So, when we talk about divine feminine and divine masculine, just a generic idea that we know about genders. But
Mhm.
what exactly do we mean by divine feminine masculine? Many people think of these as gender roles, but it's still so much deeper than that.
Very much. And it's a great way to start. I think with both of the ways in which our practice works, typically the feminine part of ourselves. Yes, I'm a woman, but the gifts of the feminine primarily work through me creatively, intuitively. Um, the way I work with my own emotions and my feeling body, my sensing of my environment. So I have been able to by coming in, so my practice when I was on my own, I had to hold both masculine and feminine very strongly because I had to protect myself and hold that container using my logic mind, very poignantly to get to the source of the challenge for my clients. But as Daryl and I honed, different parts of ourselves when we were practicing individually, when we stepped into our practice together, when spirit or the divine rather asked us to work together, I was able to completely go into my feminine gifts. And so my state of omnipresence just widened and my ability to go very deep into the Akashic records, very deep into people's subconscious situations so that I could bring their story and their challenges to Daryl, where he was able to approach it from a very structure sense. So he could change, the things that were held in structure that were keeping those things in place. So the way we work together, almost like, you can see the stream of consciousness that comes up from the kundalini, we intertwine back and forth, and that's what our clients always give us that feedback. They're like, "Wow, the union of each one and weighted so evenly between us in terms of our gifts and what we bring." Mhm.
That's beautiful. Dal, Dal, if you want to add anything to this.
Oh, well, I thought that was answered perfectly. I mean, it is the I mean, we to get I think we can get in on this on your show, but we're working on the with people with their subconscious and the patterns that are there, but there's many influences outside the third dimension that really come in and try to keep people stuck in their old patterns. And so there's ancestors and entities and all kinds of beings on the other side of the veil that oftentimes, the container I'm holding is, cutting cords, keeping that stuff at bay, moving, crossing over some beings, things like that, so that Jen's able to get in there and we're able to move people more gracefully through their healing journey without some of these anchors and things that have been holding them back and that interfere in the healing process.
That's fascinating. And what comes to my mind is in many relationships, we typically see one of these energies overpowering the other.
Mhm,
It's either too much masculine dominance or too much feminine surrender.
mhm,
So how do you both ensure balance? Rather, I should use the word harmony
mhm,
in your
Yeah,
relationship.
no, yeah, that's a good question. A lot of we've been really dedicated to our own practice,
Hmm.
doing our own inner work, and for a long time. I've been on this, mind body therapy path for 30 years now, and Jen's been on for 20. So, and we do a ton of our own inner work. We sort of see out there, there's in the spiritual world, there's a lot of you know, words that are used and people, I'm going to manifest or this or that. But what we've really found is we've dug deep into this is the world out there is a reflection of the world inside of us. And we really have to clear up there because what we're emanating into the field, what we're speaking to the field with energetically is what's organizing our reality and bringing back a reflection of itself. So we do create our own reality, but we do it more unconsciously than consciously. And the problem with the unconscious is it's indeed unconscious. So you need to be able to do this work and sort of to be able to hold the codes of the divine masculine, divine feminine in each of us individually, and then to work with that so that we can basically honor that in each other. And so it's working on our own levels of humility and things of this nature
mhm,
really make it a lot easier to rest into the other person's strengths without feeling that there's any kind of a power struggle or anything.
mhm.
Yeah.
What I would add to that, Santa, is that both Daryl and I also just in I think our divine purpose when we were embodied, as young children, is I was also empowered very much in my masculine. So I was a female that had a very strong masculine side, and he was a male that had a very strong feminine side. So when we came together, we were able to relax.
Yeah.
We developed those parts of ourselves that may have not developed otherwise,
Right.
and so it was very complimentary, and then we could relax and fall into the place that, we were meant to lead. And so for me, I could lean into my feminine more, and he could step more into his masculine. So I think the polarities are really important to the planet. We have to understand our polarity, and we have to respect it. We don't wanna get attached, but I think it's such a gift of who we are, and it shows us how else are we to know if not through the polarity of the other side, cause and action and, uh, and so, yeah, so this has been our journey and how it's, weaved together.
Yeah, we both had our individual practices when we came together as a couple, and and with spirit asked us to work together, and I was against it at first because I thought, well, how is that going to work? You can't double your price and stuff, but we really had a kind of a this idea to surrender to what's being asked and what would happen if you always did that. We got a very Jennifer's very clairvoyant, so we have a very direct connection to the source, and that's what they asked. And but in doing so, because of the what we were able to hold as a container, we were able to discover many things that we learned through the process of working with people different from what you would read in a book or take in a course. And so that is ultimately what has transpired into the programs that we're now offering to people right now, in person, but in the future online. And we're very excited about that because then it really empowers people to do their own inner work because right now what we're really seeing is it's time to deal with our shadow. There's something happening on the planet that's not allowing us to keep that under the carpet anymore. It has to be dealt with. You can't bypass any longer, and but that's a gift ultimately, and that's what's going to, take us back to our purpose and help us evolve in a very real way.
I absolutely agree with that. And needless to say, you both are the personification of the divine confluence of the masculine and feminine energy. So it's really, really inspiring to see the harmony here. And uh, also, I love diving into the expansive world of spirituality. That's why Cosmic Conference is so, uh, so near to my heart, and it's so personal to me. But I also think it's valuable to challenge ideas, uh, uh, delve into both sides of the coin. So I would like to throw in two perspectives that might push back a little. So some would say that all healing is our self healing, and external healers or partners, they are just facilitators. So, how would you respond to that? Anyone?
Absolutely. I think that that is important. However, I think sometimes is I think what we would describe ourselves as models. So when that's why our purpose and the hours that we spend, so we have our client work, so we see, a number of clients every day, but the hours outside of that, the degree of authenticity and devotion that we put into healing ourselves is why our practice is successful, because we cannot be healers or be models or be holders of, we'll call them codes of light, to emanate or resonate. So when someone comes into our field, they are coming into, it's like information, and so they can choose to step up and receive the information of change and harmonize with that and say, oh, now I understand. So we bring about the issues, we bring it to the light of their awareness because they've asked, say, why is this happening to me? And so we lay all the issues on the table, and then there's a resonance, a shift of change, because they have stepped up into their own healing of their own choice and received that change. We could not do the work that we do without having gone through this and received these initiations, if you want to call them in a fancy way, or awareness of why things have unfolded in the way they have. And so much so that we actually just returned from New Mexico. So months and months ago, spirit asked us, or the divine, I know sometimes I use the word spirit, asked us to go down to New Mexico. And so we had to prepare and prepare and prepare. And we knew it was for, some to receive some sacred opportunity data. They did not tell us exactly what. So pinpointed on a map, because that's Daryl's talent. We followed it 9 kilometers with our little RV up a dirt mountain road into the middle of nowhere, into the exact location where it was the only place where we could safely turn around our RV. It was so narrow, this mountain road in New Mexico, and the divine gave us this huge shift to our light bodies, so that because of all of the work that we've done. So absolutely, when you ask, like, it is a self-healing process, and we would never take that's away from someone. We are offering, I know, an opportunity for people to learn to do it for themselves. And so this is what we've been gifted. And it's very simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately, um, people have so many things that are like the way we look at the subconscious mind is it's very much like a computer, and its basic job is to keep us alive and safe. And it does so very often by limiting us. It's like if you got, in trouble as a child for speaking up, then you go, oh, your subconscious goes, it's not safe to speak your truth or, say what's on your mind. And it, and then you end up choking it off and you end up with throat infections or thyroid issues or things of this nature in the kind of psychoneuroimmunological, mind body connection. But in that, basically, we're not aware of that what our unconscious did.
Mhm.
So you need somebody to be able to, or you can look at your dreams. You need to bring the unconscious into consciousness, into awareness. And so it's very useful to have that. And then once you've done that, then you have to see if the person wants to change. There's a lot of times what we find a very common pattern is an attachment to having an issue in the first place. And it may be unconscious, but we call that a treasured wound. There's a payoff for having a problem. Maybe they're getting more attention from their partner. Maybe they're getting a disability check and so on. And that's responsible for the maintenance of their issue that they want to change. So that needs to be brought into the light of awareness so they can see, oh my God, I have been doing that. And then the willingness can come on board. And then when they choose, I want to heal, then that's 9/10 of the equation, maybe not that much, but it's such a huge part because their will is now on board, and then we can guide them, and our clients are involved in the process. When we're doing the process, all 3 of us are working away at it.
Makes sense. Makes sense. That's a really, really a very fresh and really profound perspective on this. Also, Jennifer, question to you on prophecy. So, skeptics might argue that prophecy is just a strong intuition mixed with subconscious pattern recognition. So, have you ever questioned your own prophecies?
Absolutely. I It's like I once heard a rock star, and I kind of think of it the same way. When you stop being nervous before a show, then you've lost your understanding of your role to deliver the best that you can do. So when I first of all, when we prepare to go into when spirit indicates to me that they would like to share prophecy,
Mhm.
I'll just give you an idea of what it looks like for me on the inner planes. When I go in there, I can see all of the shadow and trickery on the inner plane. So it's like I'll just use 10, but it's like there's 10 beings, and they can be like almost like demonic or entities or different words that will ETs that we give to identify the traps, and they can try and attach to my own egoic shadow. So they're looking to pull on a string if I have one. And so I carefully, and through my feeling body, I can sense each and every attempt. And so that's why the two of us, so I will say to Daryl, there's something, this is the words, there's something in the way. And so he goes and removes that trickery, that being, and then I wait and I allow the light to move again, and then I'll feel another block. And so it takes a long time
Mhm.
to be able to prepare to get that data down. That has taken years to refine. So if I was to look at my prophecies that I made, say 5 or 10 years ago, the level of precision would be, if it's like percentage of talent, if it's a test, oh, I got 97% on that test. It's no different for a prophet. So as I have fine-tuned each and every one of my egoic filters or layers or whatever, I'm getting closer and closer and closer. And that was why the gift for us to go down to New Mexico was so profound. We have met test after test after test with the divine. I don't know if you know this, but I was also healed by cancer by grace. So I had my own cancer journey, and then when it returned, it was prophesized. I knew it was going to come. If they told me it would come back if I didn't deal with certain things, it came back. Went to my doctor. Yes, it's there. And by the time I went to my CT scan, the 5 days later to kind of start the process of what are we gonna do, Spirit put us through rigorous, layers of healing and looking at different things as to why I came back, what parts of me were still unhealed. And by the end of it, the night before my CT scan, they said, "Okay, we're going to remove it now. You have met those tests." So I would say I agree with you. I am a skeptic, myself to certain, um, said teachers. And that's important to me. When you are not coming in with a curious and discerning balance as to when you receive information, if you're not validating it through the instinctual nature, then you're giving your power away. And this is the return. This is a big part of our work is connecting people to their instinctual nature. That organic truth teller instrument is really what helps us understand if this is a threat or if this is supportive.
That's a fair response, Jennifer. And I think the biggest lesson we all can get from your experiences and Daryl's, filtration in there is about trust our own experiences while also remaining open to different perspectives.
Yes.
So it's kind of that enlightenment that we should all seek. Um, Also, let's talk about your prophecies. Very very interesting. So your prophetic gift has been a very powerful tool. From forcing the LA fires to COVID. Um, but how do both of you balance such a profound connection to the divine while also maintaining an earthly partnership?
Mm.
Yeah. Well, it is, I mean, it's a very interesting question. I think that, it's almost maybe more the way it's meant to be. We've kind of lost a little bit of connection to the way nature intended relationship to be.
Mhm.
We have the metaphor of the Matrix movies. I think is um, very relevant because we kind of get caught up in the rat race and the false gods that, oh, I'll be happy when, and everything's externally focused and I'm looking and there's consumerism and we're driven outside and then everything becomes this race. But the price we pay for that is our own souls, and we live up in our heads, most of us, and we've lost touch with our heart's desires and why we came here. And those are some of the deeper reasons. So relationship, I think the earth school is very much about relationship and the mirrors that we hold for each other in that. And if we're wise enough to be able to look, and when there's something in your partner or whoever's in your life for that matter that you judge or triggers you, that is the wisdom would be to look at that and saying, what's being near to me? What is that? Like if you're judging somebody, oh, they're very cocky. They think so high of themselves, and so on. But why are you triggered by that? Well, maybe you've lost touch with your own confidence. And you've pushed that away. And so you're judging in them what you can't be within yourself. So it's just an example of what the mirrors are in relationship. And we're here to resolve our karma and we're here to grow and evolve. And the relationship offers us the arena to do so if we have the wisdom to really look deep and be self-reflective and ask those questions. Because when you ask those questions, the answers will come in one way or another. Very often they'll come in dreams. We work with our dreams a lot. It's I always tease that it's a it's like free psychotherapy that we always ignore. But when we can start to look at life in from that perspective, then we can grow in a much more kind of expedited way.
What I would add is, my 2 boys, were some of my greatest teachers, and I wasn't able Daryl, in his early career, he was able to travel and explore his spiritual practice through various teachers and gathering, those types of things. For me, it was at home with my 2 children. So the path to enlightenment is something that we have to honor in our day-to-day life. So when you say, how do you balance it? It is about our day-to-day life. Like my boys are grown men now, but they're a big part of it. Daryl plays hockey. We love camping and kayaking in the ocean, and we're out in nature all of the time. So our life is very simple, and we meet regular challenges, but I think that with the difference with us is we ask, okay, what do I need to understand from this? What do I need to open myself up and pursue? So we take all of our tools and are they're present with us moment to moment. So we are very much in the present moment. We have to honor our animal nature. And so being a part of nature uh is really critical to allowing the soul to rest into this avatar, this body.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what I learned from this is, when we talk about spirituality, or intuitive intuition or healing, I mean, it's something that just happens, or it's kind of a gift. But uh, I mean, what I learned from both of you is it's also about doing the work, blending with nature and doing the work to clear blocks and receive divine messages. Because if we talk about God, I think, if the God is within us, we have all souls, and souls are energies. So that's a really, really beautiful perspective. Really beautiful.
The biggest thing that we are working in our practice with, another with the instinctual nature, but is our affirming our innocence. We have been conditioned and labeled, and I always think it's a little bit of a, words are powerful, but the mark of the beast. When you hear those words on the planet, it's like what we've been branded with, you're guilty from the beginning, and undoing that in the collective. We do a lot of work on the collective level, and we don't talk about it a lot, but we go in. So one of the things that is in our relationship is holding the return of innocence of the inner child, returning, because all of this trickery and the darkness that wants to pull us off our path, they're just there to challenge us. They're not, they have no power essentially over to them. They only have the power that we give them. And so the illusion that we can be, overtaken or hurt or threatened by this is not true. We have to meet this in ourselves. And so, but we have to do so from the innocence, the return of our innocence. And so, yeah, that's a big part of what we help our clients with.
And the return to that innocent, that, the secret to, connecting to our vulnerability and to really increasing the amount of intimacy we can experience in relationship. So it's a gift to be able to go there. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the perpetration, I guess, if you will, is to, make us self-destructive and to build the inner critic and to make us hard on ourselves, because then we move away from that inner divinity. It's self-loathing as opposed to self-love, and that then is the secret, because that's then, if you're aligned with your divine nature, then that's what you're speaking to the field with, and then you start to draw back a reflection of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Couldn't agree more with both of you. And now, I'll come to Daryl. So let's talk about the masculine role in healing, not just the gender, because many people associate healing and spirituality with the divine feminine, that intuitive, nurturing, and receptive qualities. But your work, Daryl, shows that divine masculine is just as crucial in the healing process. So, can you share how you, as a metaphysical healer of the subconscious, embody the divine masculine in your practice? And, how can men in particular embrace their role in spiritual healing without feeling like they have to abandon their strength?
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's a great question too. It's in the work itself, the intuitive is like the flowing, it's the water. It's like, here's the information, here's what needs to, where it wants to go, here's the shift that needs to happen. And then the masculine comes in with structure and say, okay, well, we need to change these limiting beliefs, we need to remove this, energetic block, we need to integrate this life lesson around karma and why we are experiencing this. And so it's very good to be able to bring that more information or knowledge or structure to change the structure of consciousness itself, and so on. So I think that's a lot of the masculine and feminine working in harmony helps to bring. But yes, in the spiritual world, and I certainly went through this journey myself, it was like you feel it, you have to become more feminine. And I lost some of my masculine nature on that path, and became very much a rescuer and gave away a lot of my energy, and it was starting to make me ill. And that was part of my journey, and I had to realize I had to keep my energy a little bit pulled back and not be all out there trying to, like you said, rescue. They have to help themselves. We help others help themselves. That's what it really, like, it's more, instead of a healer, it's kind of a healing facilitator, I suppose. And that, because you're helping the person help themselves. But in that, because the masculine energy and the patriarchy in our world for thousands of years has been so distorted that a lot of men have shame and guilt about that part of themselves and then push off, and then it goes underground and it grows heads, and it becomes shadow. So there's the healed masculine, or the conscious masculine, or the divine masculine, which was what we want to get in touch with. But the distorted masculine, the power over structure as opposed to a mutual empowerment, is where we want to move towards. So instead of like saying it's bad, it's just, it needs to be healed. It needs to be understood. And everyone's journey is going to be a little bit different. I mean, our culture has a model of kind of the Arnold Schwarzenegger, powerful, masculine. A lot of men try to move towards that, and then a lot of men move the other way, and then you have very feminine men that have no strength, no assertiveness, no boundaries, no. And so we all have to kind of recognize this true masculine. I mean, there's tons of books written on the divine feminine, but there's not a lot on the divine masculine.
The word that came out, I was just going to give it to you because I want me to share is responsible. Remember, we've been with you. Go ahead and no. Well, why don't you speak to?
Well, yeah, I mean, this energy of responsibility is something that we really need to say, right, yeah, I need to step into that and really take ownership of, responsibility in whatever that entails, whether it's in the family unit or in working with people or working with yourself in your own life, is being able to, because when you take responsibility, that's real power. Because I love the word, when you take responsibility, you have the ability to respond. When you abdicate it and give it away, then you're in the victim's chair and there is no power there. So I think that's a little way of how, we characterize our relationship to the divine masculine.
Absolutely. Jennifer, do you have anything to say on that?
Uh, just that, like how Daryl, like he said in earlier in his practice many years ago, that was, it's like, oh, the call to his feminine side and overdeveloping that. But the beauty in watching the embodiment of the true masculine provides space for the feminine to be vulnerable. So and it brings it, and then it offers that to the masculine so that they can enter their vulnerability. So the beauty of the two, it's the gateway. It's like, oh, as the feminine feels safe and can open, and just the depth that we can go to in our own bodies and intimately. And so, and then the invitation for the masculine to enter with us. And so I think that, I think people are afraid to speak about these very cultural but they're really more energetic opportunities for men and women to discover about themselves. This is the trick that we are being deceived with, is to give away these very precious parts of ourselves. We cannot reach union and enter that deep, powerful place if we are not in right balance with our feminine and masculine. And so, if it's too neutral, if it's been neutralized and washed out, then we can't harness that polarity, because that's where that cosmic energy is released. And that pressure, spirit was speaking to us just the other day. We need that pressure. I was entering that energy. I'll just say orgasmically. When there's pressure, the expulsion of the energy is so intense. When it's diffused and there's this fluid open of neutrality and without container, there's no power there. And so if we're moving in our practice to incorporate a lot of sexual sacred sexuality. That's I'm writing a second book now. The first book was
Mhm.
kind of the what's going on in the consciousness movement. The second book is why, how, and more on sacred union. So we're moving from an individual energy, embodying that in ourselves, and then how to hold that in relationship. And so we'll be speaking to sacred sexuality in the coming months as the data, as the information comes through.
Mm. Wow, that's really inspiring. Really inspiring. Some interesting, you know, resources coming up gifts coming up for all of our listeners as well. So, Jennifer, before we wrap up, would you be open to channeling a short message right here on the podcast for our listeners? Maybe something the universe wants them to hear today.
Okay, sure. So how we work is we always ask who it's going to be, and then oftentimes we have to just clear the field. So just give us 1 second because that's how channel a good channel we work. So we're going to channel something from Angel Uriel, and we just have to clear the field. Just take 30 seconds here for 1 sec. And then the huh. Oh, so Daryl's just shamanically moving the energy out of the way because the dark likes to limit access and anyway, so you may hear a couple little energetic registers that he has. He suppresses them as much as he can, but
Okay.
okay, so we'll see what Angel Uriel says. Well, first of all, Uriel just wants to honor your heartfelt, it's like the purity of your, I want to just connect to this right word here. I want to say drive and it's like the beauty of your heart and how it comes through each and the exploratory conversations that you are offering to your listeners. Because she says you don't get enough acknowledgement for what you're doing and the energy and the space that you hold for the number of people that you reach. And so she really wants to affirm your role as a light worker, a light holder, and a way shower of this beautiful information. She wants to honor the deeper question that you asked when you said, is it true? Is it not true that people heal themselves? And she is excited that you challenge each and every one of us to know that the answers lie within and that the bigger problem that we have seen over and over on the planet and the fractals and repeated challenges that people find themselves in is they're too quick to look to another for their answers. This does not negate listening and learning, but allowing that information to be absorbed and received through the truth of their own hearts and where they find themselves at their time and lives at that point. For each and every tool will have its time and place, no one more important, but sometimes one needs this and sometimes one needs that. And it is the divine guidance that they all receive through the support of their angels and guides that will be the answer that they need in that moment. They are but to listen and to feel and to ask this question each and every moment, for the truth is available if one desires it wholeheartedly and honestly. Not the truth in which they would be comfortable with, but the truth that would serve them on their path, that would expand their understanding and honor the sacred life that they have stepped into. For we all are here to experience love, laughter, and joy, healing, triumph, and pain. For to know is to learn and to grow from this place of learning. And we hope that this will honor those, the journey that they are on, knowing that the difficulties they face are but the triumphs of their soul. And so it is. Okay.
So beautiful. So good. Love, laughter, joy, healing, triumph, and pain. Wow, that's deeply moving, Jennifer and Daryl. And listeners, if that resonated with all of you, take a deep breath and let it sink in. This is the kind of transformation that happens when we open ourselves to both the seen and unseen realms. So, uh, be- before we wrap up, Jennifer and Daryl, if our listeners would want to work with you or learn more about Awaken Your Light Body, where they can find you.
Yeah, our website is thenatureofus.ca. And we have all our programs there, our contact information. If they would like to work with us one on one in a session, they're about an hour and 15 minutes long. And yeah, and then, Jen's book is there if they want to get that, or
YouTube videos.
lots of YouTube videos. Some of the prophecies are posted there and just different things. So yeah, there's a myriad of information on our website, and that's probably the best contact place.
Beautiful, beautiful. We'll have all the details in the show notes for our listeners. And Jennifer and Daryl, thank you to both of you for sharing your wisdom, your love story with all of us. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This was such a divine experiences for me personally, as well as I'm very sure for our listeners also.
Thank you, Sana.
Yeah, it's been wonderful being on your program. Thanks so much.
And to all of our listeners, if today's conversation has resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on where you might need more harmony between your divine feminine and divine masculine energies. Well, you are more powerful than you know. And until next time, stay open, stay balanced, and keep exploring the cosmic confluence along with me, your host, Sana. Thank you.